Hello, hello, hello. Assalamu alaikum. Ji ayanu pakhair raghale ni hao chune shumme washmale. Oh hi, gazaimes, guten morgen. Hi, hugs and hellos and a very good khush ahmadid to everybody who's tuned into PTV World and are watching World this morning alongside the very pretty Maha Makhdoom and me myself Shahzad Khan. Hello Maha, how are you? Assalamu alaikum.
Walaikum assalam. Hello Shazad. Hello everyone. Assalamu alaikum to everyone. I am very good today. I'm good, but I've gotten to the zone of being reflective and trying to, become a better person, trying to be patient, trying not to lose my anger, all these things. How are
Exactly
you?
that.
How are you?
Exactly, that's brilliant. Well, whenever you ask me that, what about you and what are you doing? As a matter of fact, for all of these things, for all of those years which we have worked together, you know
Yeah.
me as a person as well.
Yes.
So I don't get angry,
No, I know you as a brother.
yeah, I
You
don't.
don't get angry,
Yeah, I
no.
don't badmouth and stuff like that. But lately, what has happened is that I feel a change within my own personality.
sense it as
That
well.
there are things which I want to talk about, and then I hold them back because of the fact that I don't want anybody else to have a bad day just because of what I said. So I think it's good to control, and that's the message of Ramadan as well. That you have to be very resolved.
Okay, I
Yeah.
agree with that absolutely, but then there is a fine line of when you're taking it too much, and you need to
Exactly.
voice yourself because then you'll get frustrated
And when you
and
start voicing,
angry,
yeah,
like I do.
this is how I feel. When you start voicing your concerns,
Yeah.
it has to be very docile. I think that's what I'm going to say. That you start with a very mellow and a dramatic pitch, and then initially when you see that things are not taking place, you take another step, and then obviously, last but not the least, there's the only solution left is that you obviously have to yell on somebody else as well.
Yeah, which
But
he
please,
leaves to
yeah,
me.
but please
Yeah,
avoid that.
yeah, absolutely. So let's start with our top stories for the hour.
Here they are.
Okay, so Parliament will begin its new year today with the address of President Mamnoon Hussain to the joint session.
All right, and moving on towards the next one, where National Security Committee discusses overall internal and external security situation of country, besides situation on eastern and western borders.
Excellent. And then President Mamnoon Hussain has urged the international community and human rights organization to take notice of the gross human rights violations in occupied Kashmir by Indian forces. This is really important.
It is indeed, and now, last but not the least, moving on towards sports, where ICC Champions Trophy begins today with first match between host England and Bangladesh at the Oval. PTV Sports will telecast match live from 2:30 p.m. onwards. Well, I think people are going to get another source of entertainment other than those game shows going on these days,
Yeah,
which
there's a lot of
everybody's
this-
crazy about.
Yeah, they're fun, but then the thing is they get good giveaways.
Yeah, they're pretty cool giveaways over there. People
Yeah.
are giving away cars and planes and whatnot. But I think that's what we were talking about yesterday as well, that it's all about contentment, it's all about taqwa as well. So for all those channels, private channels which are out there, yeah, good luck to taqwa though.
Yeah, okay. So we're not here to judge. I've each to their own. But anyway, so what are we with? As you know, it's our first segment, and we have picked a surah from the
Yeah.
Quran, and we will be discussing that.
Exactly.
And Shazad's going to say a little bit about it, and then I will just say a little bit, and we'll introduce our guest
Yeah,
quickly.
but before we talk about that, we do have a public service message to give away. All right, so let's take a
Absolutely.
listen.
Okay, I got confused because I thought, your story of how you're feeling and that change within you was kind of a public service message, but my bad.
That was a PP.
A pre-public service
No,
message.
that was a personal public service message.
Okay, okay.
PPSM. Yeah, that's what it is.
Okay.
But ladies and gentlemen, at a larger scale, what I wanted to talk about was, in fact, we wanted to talk about, which we decided earlier, that during Ramadan, what happens is that, kids, obviously they want to have a lot of pakoras and dahi bade and fruit charts and whatnot. And I remember as a kid, when I was a kid and, it was almost iftar time, I used to go to the kitchen and ask my mom whether you've made plenty of pakoras or not. So initially she would say that, yeah. And then if God forbid, there wasn't any pakoras left for me to eat, I would just start shouting or yelling, oh, where are my pakoras?
Yeah.
So the next day, she'll make like more and more of pakoras. But then by the end of the day, they all went to waste because of the fact that, I couldn't eat that much.
Okay.
So for all those people who are out there while utilizing all of these resources, please make sure that whatever you require to eat, that's what you're cooking or making in the kitchen. Because other than that, wasting all of that food is no good. That's
And
what
it's
I'm saying.
sinful as well. So that is a great public service message. So that is eat what you cook what you require, and then any excess, there are a lot of poor people on the streets as well, so you can share that around. So now, going back to what our topic of the show is, we picked the surah today, and we're still playing around with it. So we're, talking about the translation, and then we're talking about the social implications, and then we're talking about how can we actually find more belief in, within God and within ourselves, and become more, stuck with it, as in more committed to it.
Exactly, and then at the same time, the surah we have picked up on is going to highlight quite a lot of very important issues in our life. For example, we talk about power. Every human out there, they want to dictate, they want to probably be a leader, they want to be the one whom people follow. Then there's pleasure as work, and then there's work. Now, these are three different dimensions which are very important for human motivation. Now, Surah Al-Imran, in which we have picked up on different ayahs, and obviously Mr. Yusuf Raza is here alongside with us. He'll tell us that, what the surah says, first of all, and then we'll have a psychological point of view to it as well, because all of these things are our motivational force.
Exactly.
I think that's what it is, and with us, we do have Mr. Yusuf Raza. Hello.
Dr. Yusuf
Dr.
Raza.
Yusuf Raza Saab, Assalamu Alaikum. How are you? Who's a religious student?
Walaikum assalam. Thank you very much.
And we're all kind of in the same color family today as well.
Like
we're getting on the same vibe.
Even
Great.
the studio's in the same color.
Right. Okay, so we're talking about ayah number 14 and 15 of Surah Al-Imran. I'll just begin a little bit with the translation of the first bit, and then we'll discuss it as we go along.
Yeah.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم زُيِّنَ للناس حب الشهوات من النساء. Beautified for people, for men in particular, are desires from women. وَالْبَنِينَ وَالْقَنَاطِيرِ, and sons. Particularly in a tribal society, having a lot of children was a sign of power, because that would mean that they would be your strength, your support in that particular society. وَالْقَنَاطِيرِ الْمُقَنْطَرَةِ مِنَ الذَّهَبِ وَالْفِضَّةِ, and hoarded treasures of gold and silver. وَالْخَيْلِ الْمُسَوَّمَةِ وَالْأَنْعَامِ, and well-bred horses and cattle and tilth. وَالْحَرْثِ tilth. ذَلِكَ مَتَاعُ الْحَيَاةِ الدُّنْيَا. These are the provision of the life of this world. وَاللَّهُ عِنْدَهُ حُسْنُ الْمَآبِ, and with Allah, He is the one with whom is the good goal, is the ultimate abode, ultimate return of life. So, just getting into a little bit of an explanation of this ayah, we have a common religious perspective, sort of a distorted religious perspective that likes to portray anything that has to do with pleasure, anything that wants certain forms of entertainment, or anything that requires coming in the limelight, or like just being in the center of things and having the authority to do things, as absolute evils, as things that are completely to be shunned, and even for that matter, to covet a lot of wealth, to want to have a lot of money, a lot, branded cars, everyone wants power. So these things are sort of put in a garbage can as absolute evils, as things that are complete no-no.
Oh, okay, now there's one thing which I need to ask over here, and that is that over here in Pakistan, we do very commonly hear people saying that, oh, look at that guy, he's wasting money over his clothes and car and whatnot. But then at times there are people, obviously since I'm not a, very good religious student as well, so I just want to ask that, there are people, there's a different mindset who say that you can drive a good car as well, you can have 10 houses if you can, and then at the same time, all you need to do is dispense all of that wealth towards all of those people who are unfortunate in that particular scenario. So is it fine to have a good car, to wear good clothes?
Well, if you let people find out, if we're allowed.
Right. So what this ayah is basically telling us is that all of these instincts, all of these impulses are very natural.
Okay.
They have been put there by God. This is the human makeup. This is how human beings are. And so to want a little bit of this and a little bit of that, that's okay, that's completely understandable.
Yeah.
Right? It's not something to be shunned out, because then you're asking people to live like zombies or robots and be superhuman and kill natural instincts, which will necessarily result in other evil consequences. Because you're going to start, those of us who have these natural thoughts in our mind, natural thoughts about pleasure, for example, about the opposite gender, for that matter, or have desires for good clothes, then they'll start identifying themselves to be, oh my God, I'm so evil. I get these evil thoughts. And there's two extremes to that. Either you're going to go into a guilt trip and feel very bad about yourself and still go ahead with life as usual, or you're going to be like, fine, if I'm evil, then so be it. I'll take it to the extreme. I'll go all out.
So what does the surah say?
Okay.
So yeah, with this ayah, what we understand is this is to be taken in its own place. This is to be understood as something very natural, as something very human, and it has to be channeled appropriately, though.
Okay, channeled appropriately.
Channeled
is the keyword.
appropriately is the key word, because
Yeah.
we have understandings that come, for example, it's actually brilliant. It's so inspiring that the Quran talks about these three particular categories, and all throughout history, poets, thinkers, philosophers, it is these three themes that they've always picked up on as being the most primary motivational factors for all human behavior.
And it makes us vulnerable too.
Yeah, and that's the second part, right? So
We're going to start a discussion afterwards, so let him finish.
Right, so that's something to be very, like for example, poetry. In Urdu, zar, zan, zameen are the prominent themes in poetry. Money, women, and power, right?
Yeah.
So these are the primary themes. If you look at modern philosophy, you have the likes of Freud, talking about pleasure being the motivational force for everything. If you talk about Friedrich Nietzsche, he would say that power is everything. And if you talk about, for example, Karl Marx, for him economics was the motivating force, and economic superiority was driving all social behavior. So, and interestingly enough, when the Messenger ﷺ initially, the Quraysh came to him to stop him, and asked him, what are you doing? What are you up to? This is not on. We can't stand for this. He was presented with three things as bribes.
All right.
Pick a woman, I will marry you to her. Your choice. Number two, we'll make you a king. Number three, any treasure, any wealth you want, we'll give it to you. Just stop doing this. Because for them as well, these three, they could not understand or fathom that there can be any other motivational force other than these three.
Yeah.
That all of human behavior, even religion, is motivated by these three. That's their understanding. That's where the Quran would differ. Understandably, these are natural.
Yeah.
Understandably, these are human, but that's not all there is to being a human. Human beings are more than this. So with these thinkers, what they would do is they would put genuine, sincere efforts for the society, genuine, sincere efforts for spirituality under these brackets as well. Saying, you know what, this is nothing more than just pleasure in a distorted form. This is just a means of getting power, only more deceitful, to the point of self-deception. And that's true in its own place. These three motivational forces are so strong that they can come up to us in that way.
Exactly.
But that does not negate genuine spirituality. That does not negate the fact that we are more than just these. And so the next ayah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says that قُلْ أَأُنَبِّئُكُمْ بِخَيْرٍ مِّن ذَلِكُمْ. This is all good in its own place, but say, O Messenger, should I tell you of something even better than all of these? Even better than all of these. لِلَّذِينَ اتَّقَوْا. For the people who have taqwa. And taqwa, if we're going to define it in three phrases, then it would be consciousness of God, consciousness of yourself, and consciousness of your action. Being aware of in these three dimensions. Being aware in these three dimensions, that's taqwa. That to be aware, yes, I'm getting an instant, I'm being motivated by pleasure for this. And am I channeling it appropriately, or is it taking me over? Is it driving my behavior to the point of being arrogant, to the point of putting other people down, to the point that when I need to fulfill my thirst for pleasure, I don't look at who I'm exploiting, who I'm making use of, who I am abusing, for that matter, in any of these three areas.
I think that's a very important aspect as well, because in life, this is what happens that, okay, if somebody's going to ask me, why do you work? Obviously, it's going to come down to a point where I'll say it'll make me happy. That's what pleasure is as well. And then these are the three main pillars or the fundamentals of where we actually deviate, because, the hunger stays to ask for more.
Definitely. So you can never have enough if this is what is driving you. And so, in addition to Freud, Nietzsche, and Marx, I like to talk about Viktor Frankl then, who's also a psychiatrist, also comes from a background, academic background, and he says, I respectfully disagree with all these thinkers that yes, these three forces are very important, but there is more to human beings than just that. There is genuine spirituality. There is genuine sincerity that people can have. We are not pawns in the hands of these instincts. We have a freedom to do more. And he says that if you go after pleasure as your ultimate pursuit, it is exactly that that you won't achieve. If it's all about happiness, if it's all about pleasure, he says, Frankl says, it's like that butterfly, that the more you chase after it, the more it runs away from you. The more you stop thinking about it and sit down, it comes and sits on your shoulder. And so for him, pleasure is a secondary byproduct of trying to achieve something spiritual, of trying to achieve something meaningful. And by meaningful, he means selfless. Something for other than yourself. Something for the society. Something for less privileged people. You do something genuinely for them, and the contentment and happiness will follow as a byproduct, not as something that is primarily pursued. Not as something that is primarily pursued. And that's where taqwa comes in.
But pursuing through an appropriate channel, that's what the keyword was. How do you think we can probably do that in our daily routines?
Right, so there are appropriate channels with respect to entertainment, with respect to pleasurable activities. Everyone likes to have good food. There's nothing wrong with that, as long as it's not at the expense of somebody else.
I can have it for a longer period now.
Right? So as long as it's not at the expense of somebody else, as far as pleasure is concerned, to channel it through the institution of marriage, for a husband and wife to be having, and for that the Messenger ﷺ said, is worthy of reward that you have intimate relationships with your wife. For both. But why? Because it is in a wedlock where the rights of the other are maintained. Somebody is not attaining pleasure, and the other person gets to suffer for it. Whereas outside of a wedlock, of a socially accepted institution of marriage, exploitation is on the high. Where in the United Kingdom, you'll have 1 out of every 5 families being led by a single woman, by a single mother, because someone with no responsibility involved in that relationship had a relationship, the woman became pregnant, and the guy is nowhere to be seen. And so now she has to shoulder the economic burden. She has to be played the mother and the father and all of those roles, and that's just asking too much of one individual.
Exactly.
So channeling that in an appropriate direction. And as far as power is concerned, understanding that yes, power is to be respected as well, but it is a means, not an end in itself. Because more power, more money, that will drive us, like the Messenger ﷺ said, if the son of Adam had a value of gold, he'd want a second one. And he'd want a third. And there will be no end.
That's the same example roaming around my head as well.
So this will make you so blind to the needs of others.
So then what do you do? Because,
I want to ask a question. Wait, before
you go ahead first.
Now the thing is, in regards to this, I mean, it's telling us that these are characteristics which are completely detested, and they're not something that one should be having. But it goes on, the Quran tells you how to live, and so it tells you that these are not good characteristics, and it tells you the dangers of it, but also tells you how to manage them as well in a very apt way. So do we have that here as well?
So as far as, again, these are bad if they are absolutized, if they become the ruling forces. Otherwise, they're natural. They're so natural that the Quran says that this is exactly what Allah has for you in paradise, waiting for you. To fulfillment of your pleasures, of your desire for power and wealth, you'll get it in as many quantities as you want it. That's what paradise is all about. And that, however, will come to the people who learn to channel it appropriately, learn that power and money as a means to doing something good. I cannot contribute to the society if I don't have authority.
Yeah.
I cannot contribute towards the underprivileged if I don't have money, if I don't have resources, if I don't have an education. So to acquire all of these things and using the appropriate share for myself, because I have my own individual needs. The Messenger ﷺ said that your nafs, yourself, has rights over you. Has rights over you. There came a person to the Messenger ﷺ and to the wives of the Messenger and asked, how much does he pray? How much does he fast? How much does he sleep? And they told him the usual amount, that he sleeps this much, he fasts this much, he prays this much, and so on. One said, no, you know what? I am so sinful, he's a prophet, he's already forgiven. I am going to fast continuously without breaking it.
Right.
The other said, I'm going to stay up the entire night and I'm not going to stop. I am going to pray the entire night, I'm not going to sleep at all. The third one said, I will never get married, I will live a life of a simple, ascetic person dedicated to God. The Messenger ﷺ heard this and he became angry. He said, no way. I am the most righteous of you, and this is not righteousness what you're talking about. This is extremism.
All right.
This is extremism in the name of religion, and this will not be tolerated. Your family has rights over you. Yourself, your desires have rights over you, and you need to fulfill those responsibly as well. You need to fulfill those responsibly as well. So meaning is what we live for, with the taqwa appropriated, with the hope of reward. Pleasure is a secondary byproduct, not as something that is ultimately pursued, and power as a means.
Okay, great. Thank you very much for saying that. Now I've got two things to ask.
Yeah.
First of all, Allah is the greatest of us all, creator of mankind, creator of all of those treasures even hidden within this world as well, and we're
in the universe.
In the universe. Now what happens is that there's this concept that, for example, if I'm getting paid ₹1 million per month, let's assume, for all those people.
We can dream.
For all those people who sit in the taxation departments, all right, we're just assuming. Now what happens is that, you're very happy with that certain amount which you take home, all your responsibilities are fulfilled, you can save some money as well. And then there's a point in your life where you just do not want to work any extra. Even though if you have some time left or, whatever it is, you're just fine with that amount which you are taking away. Now, earlier this year, I got into a debate with somebody who was very elderly as well, and we were talking about these things. And he said that, even if it's what you think is fine for you, you can still ask for more. Now, asking for more, because there's a thin line now, because we're talking about contentment, that, I'm fine with whatever I have, I do not have to work any extra minute or whatnot because my responsibilities are fulfilled. So then why do you think that we have to ask? And if asking for power, for money is so wrong that you can probably be blindfolded by all of these characteristics within your own personality, then how do you decide that, this is natural and this is not?
I mean, asking for more, is that greedy? Is that wrong? Is that a characteristic that's shunned?
Now, it's going to be every individual person's, according to his own unique situations, his own unique personality, his calling, his decision, his choice, his or her choice for that matter, that we understand where, and be very critical about ourselves, where is this impinging on my need for meaning fulfillment? Where has this desire or this greed gotten so much that I am no longer a socially responsible person? I am not able to contribute to the needs of my society. I am so overwhelmed by chasing after an endless spree of dreams that I don't have time for my own family, for that matter, or for my friends, or for the underprivileged segments of my society. And this passion for more and more and more and more has just taken me over altogether, has taken me over. And so I have to draw that line. I have to draw that line that no, I need to contribute a good degree of my time, my energies, my talents for something selfless as well.
Amazing.
Okay, great.
Right.
Thank you so much. We've actually run out of time, but it was wonderful discussing this. And these are very important things. Power, wealth, and pleasure. These are things that, all in moderation. Anything in extremes becomes extremely unhealthy to you and everyone around you. So with that, we're going for a short break. And when you come back, we're talking about something that's very useful for all those people who are the breadwinners. So stay tuned.
Good morning.
اللهم صل على محمد وعلى آل محمد كما صليت على إبراهيم وعلى آل إبراهيم إنك حميد مجيد اللهم بارك على محمد وعلى آل محمد كما باركت على إبراهيم وعلى آل إبراهيم إنك حميد مجيد
Welcome back, everyone. And before the break, we had our dedication to our translation of the Quran, and we picked the surah, and we were discussing how it applies to us. And it's so relevant. It's still so modern, and it's, you know, even the whole psychological, physiological, and spiritual. It's all covered in it. And you know, sometimes it just kind of blows my mind that it's amazingly
Exactly. And
depth.
in life, it's all about creating a balance as well. I mean, what
Exactly.
type of work or, you know, what amazing work can you do where you know that your family's suffering or you do not have time for your kids? I think, well, we've pretty much discussed that as well.
Yeah.
But right now, we need to move on towards what we are discussing today, ladies and gentlemen, is that, you know, very correctly, Mr. Yusuf Raza Saab said that, you know, there's always this hunger for pleasure, for power, and for whatnot. Now, same is the case over here in Pakistan, unfortunately, we have to say that. Obviously, there has been tremendous, tremendous progression within the
Absolutely.
field of where we talk about poultry, where we talk about fruits, vegetables, and those sabzi mandis and those Ramazan bazaars within the month of Holy Ramadan. Now, what happens is that people, they obviously want more money because it's going to be Eid. Now, for all those people who work in the poultry industry, they want to breed more chicken and then sell it more and more on a higher price so that they can earn a better chunk of money. A great initiative by the government that the poultry prices were decreased from approximately 175 per kg if the chicken was, it's down to 110 rupees. Now, for all those people who are out there who do not wish to go to Itwar Bazaar, who do not wish to go to Ramazan Bazaar and go to their local shops, they might be asking for more money because there's nobody to check around on them as well. So 110 rupees per kg for a alive chicken.
Okay.
That's what it is, and it has dropped from 175, and in some areas it was 210 rupees as well, as far as I know.
Yes.
And then whenever we talk about eggs and all of these things are basic necessities which we do need within Ramadan.
Exactly.
Now, what's going on within the poultry industry? What's going on in the dairy industry? This is what we are asking today. And for this, we have been joined by Mr. Dr. Muhammad Aslam, who is the ex-chairman, Pakistan Poultry Association, and currently he is the chairman of Al-Imran Hospitals, Rawalpindi. Hello, sir. Assalamu alaikum. How are you?
I'm fine, sir.
Thank you very much for coming over once again.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much once again. So, sir, let's get started. So, you know, these drastic falls in prices, how do you think that the industry is replying to this?
I think if you see, only the poultry, chicken and eggs prices are down in Ramzan.
Yeah.
No other any commodity. You see, you cannot get meat at low price or any other thing, vegetables and even pulses. But it's only poultry which is very down nowadays. No doubt, in these rates, farmers are under crisis and they are having losses. But as we committed with with the finance minister.
You even had a few meetings
Few
as well.
meetings
We do
with
have
them,
clips
yeah.
of those meetings as well, and you can obviously explain. So if we can put on those clips, you can.
So
go
what was
on.
happening in these meetings?
Actually, what was published in newspapers, that was not true that poultry has been given many incentives. Rather, if I say we have not been given any incentive, because when Nawaz Sharif government came, of last 3 years, we have been put from 0% duty on import of materials, and now it is about 30%.
The duty itself.
Duties. So that increase your cost of production.
Exactly.
But one good thing is with the finance minister and Akhtar Haroon, Prime Minister's advisor, that they sit with you. They discuss point to point that where we can reduce, where we can increase. So actually we agreed with all of these things that Pakistan needs also funds, so we should contribute also.
Okay. In regards to the budget now, and in regards to the, okay, well, we have the meeting on the screen. So what's happening here? What was being discussed?
Actually, we have been meeting with the finance minister, and we asked them that if we import machinery from abroad for poultry industry, we have to pay more than the agriculture. If they import the same machinery, they get at less sale tax. But if we, in poultry, we import, then we have to pay more.
Yeah.
So it was actually, they agreed that this was, we are going to rectify it at par with the agriculture.
Okay.
So
But
they
what-
reduced it 3%.
All right.
So we are happy. At least they listen to us.
Amazing that is. I think, when you obviously have people who sit in the office who are responsible enough or who are caring enough to bring on those other people who are directly going to be affected by their decisions, sitting with them and making a decision or probably thinking of a decision mutually, I think is a great trend which this government brought in as well.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
sir, other than that, now do you think that for all of those people who work within the poultry industry were given a heads up before the prices came down as well? Because otherwise, I think it's going to be quite a loss for all those people who have been have been busy with the production of chicks and eggs and
actually,
whatever.
And I'd just like to add that they knew that the fasting month was coming, so they had plenty of time to prepare themselves as well. That was
Actually,
just-
when before Ramadan, 2 months, prices were a bit higher.
Yeah.
Okay.
And government was going to push everybody. They also talked to me. Chief Secretary Punjab also talked to me, what is going on. So I advised him that we should not disturb this system, because if we disturb at the moment, people will go back and they will not be putting chicks for Ramzan, because they will say that government is, by force they are reducing it. And he agreed. And you see, the things are very clear. And it is now about 60 to 70 rupees a kilo down from the last 2 months.
Exactly.
Okay, but the
And
thing
eggs
is,
also about from 140 to now about 90 rupees a dozen. Maybe somewhere it is 100 or 105, different places.
And Maha, before you ask your question, and
Yeah.
over here, people, I think we are at fault too.
With
Because
what?
I never knew that that the prices of eggs have gone down to 90 rupees per dozen. Now what happened was yesterday, obviously, when you go back home and your mom tells you to get stuff, so my mom told me to go get some eggs. I went to get some eggs as well, and it was 110 rupees per dozen. Now, last night I got to know that it's 90 rupees. Now, do we have anybody who goes around the markets or the Ramazan bazaars or the Itwar bazaars to check whether
well.
the prices they have put on?
Actually, if you go to the Ramzan bazaar, it will be even less than that.
Okay.
But if you go to Islamabad high markets, maybe 10 rupees extra, because they have also their own expenses higher with air conditioning and this and that.
right.
So there may be a difference of 5-10 rupees, but
But do we
overall there is a lot of decrease.
No, but do we have an authority who goes around and checks whether the price is given by
I
the...
don't think we should have authorities. It's not playing well. The authorities are not playing well.
Okay.
But if,
I
the-
mean,
if the
it
rates
should
are
be a
being
competitive.
No, but if the rates are being decided by the government, that
Who's
chicken
making
price-
This is
sure
not
that it's being
decided by the
implemented?
government.
Okay, it's not
This
decided
is
by the
not
government. Then how
This
come
is-
they're down enough?
This is decided by the market forces.
Okay.
But actually,
So who are
at
the
the moment, chicken supply is very high, and
Production is low.
in Ramzan there is a little bit less consumption, because there are no marriages. Hoteling is also less.
Yeah.
So, but with that, but we are giving the benefit to the public.
Okay.
But one thing more, this is your own industry. you have to save all the farmers also. If you don't save the farmers, then definitely some percentage with losses will go out of business, and again the
Okay.
prices will be high.
11 months in
Absolutely.
a year, though.
Yeah. Okay. So now the thing is, okay, like you said, that there should be no authority, but how do we regulate the quality and the prices of the chicken? Because you can't have 1 kg of chicken in Islamabad being 200 rupees, and then you go 10 minutes down the road and it's 150. That's not fair. Like, so how are we regulating all of this?
No, actually, if you go to a good shop, we are starting now
Yeah.
on that phase that this chopper type selling where there is a lot of things, dust and this and that, and you also claim that they sell the dead birds also. We are going to start new shops, modern shops. Modern shops with air conditioning system, with proper weight, with slaughtering, this and that.
Okay.
That is going to start.
Excellent.
But
You
that,
mentioned about
that will
this.
definitely cost you more because you have to put people with good hygienic everything. So that put a cost on that.
Okay.
So maybe if it is 10 or 15 rupees more than the normal
Yeah.
shops, we should be ready to buy that.
Yeah, but it's absolutely. But if you're getting those hygienic, those everything is to date, then I don't think anyone would mind paying extra.
I think
that's-
other than the shop, there's one more concern which every Pakistani has. Now, okay, you know, we are ready or willing to pay. I think I am. I'm going to speak on my behalf. I'm not sure about all those people who are out there. Well, they can certainly give us their feedback as well. If the shop's hygienic, it's air conditioned, whatnot. I think that's not much of a botheration. What bothers
Yeah.
me or all those Pakistanis who are out there are, what they have to say is that the feed which the birds consume is not up to the mark, and it's not healthy for us to consume then.
No, this is not true.
Okay.
Feed at the moment, feed industry is at the top in the international market also.
Okay.
Because we compare it with FCRs, that how much kilo you give feed and how much meat you get. You are getting very low chicken prices. You see,
Yeah, that's something which I
110
get.
rupees is not even potatoes or
But the
something.
thing is that's for, but okay, no, that's absolutely fine. And I think what your points are very valid in the sense that if the quality is going to improve, then the money, the cost of it's going to increase. That's fine. But what about all those lower middle class, poor people? Like, I mean, we can sit here, we're privileged, we have money, we have jobs, we have very stable incomes. But what about those people who can't, who don't have a lot of money, who do live below the minimum wage? What are they going to do when the cost increases if we invest in it?
No, I don't think. The chicken is at the moment, chicken is the food for the poor people.
Okay.
So it is very cheap. You cannot even imagine that at 110 or 115 or 120 rupees a kilo chicken is available everywhere.
Okay.
And if you go in the villages, everywhere a lot of people are doing this business, and everywhere it is available.
Okay.
The only thing funny about
So
these
it's only just due to scientific improvements.
Okay.
We have improvements in our control house sheds. We have improvement in feed and in all other things.
Areas. Excellent.
So due to this is going to be.
We have some images as well on the screen for our viewers. So, they're
Yeah, exactly.
very good
And
conditions.
over here in Pakistan, ladies and gentlemen, people have done quite well in the industry of poultry as well. And for all the, for example, if you go to Murray, but I'm sure people might have seen that this is one of state-of-the-art poultry shed over there, while you're on the way to Murray as well. I know whose it is, but let's not talk about that. But other than that, for all those young people who think that they want to step into the poultry industry, do you think it is a good time to step into it, or it is not right now? Because half of the time people are just not sure when to probably put in the check into the cycle as well. So if you can give away some good tips and suggestions for all those people who are new starters.
Everybody is welcome, and they can start it with very little money and very huge amount of money. I mean, you can start with 4 or 5 lakhs rupees, and you can start with billions of rupees.
okay.
So this is the industry where small farmers can come. There is no any hindrance from the government.
Excellent.
That like sugar, you cannot put a new sugar mill
Exactly.
without
So want to.
permission of.
Okay.
So that is the fault, I think. That is the fault because that is a monopoly creating.
Okay.
In poultry, everybody is welcome. So a
Okay.
lot of investment is coming, and that is why you are getting.
Okay,
cheap,
so you want to
cheap
keep
things.
it. You want to keep it a free, open area
open,
of
yeah.
competition and business.
Because the consumption is just rising day by day, I think that's what it is. And we'll certainly know the population of Pakistan in a few days, as well as the census is over too as well. But other than that, now how do you think that since obviously you have been the chairman of the Pakistan Poultry Association, there might be some standards, there might be some requirements to fulfill by the manufacturer. Well, I cannot even say manufacturer, by the guy who owns the poultry farm as well, or whatever the case is. So what are those standards so that we can be probably more aware of the facts that this is something which somebody can do or
We are
not?
obeying all the standards which the other developed countries are doing. We are getting number of eggs per bird more than European countries. So that is because if we are getting that, it's only because we are adopting all the standards.
Okay.
We are giving them good quality environment. We are giving them biosecurity. We have check on health standards of the bird. If there is a disease, that bird will never perform.
That's true.
So we'll get less number of eggs.
Okay.
So if we are getting number of eggs according to other countries, so it means everything is doing very well.
Okay, amazing.
Okay, and in regards to the last question, in regards to eggs, so we said that even that prices have gone down for the eggs as well. But our research showed that the price of eggs now has gone down to what it was in the winter time. So is it going to decrease more, or is it now at where it is for the
No,
month
I
of
don't
Ramadan?
think this is the bottom prices. We
Okay.
should buy it. But one thing I want to share with you through you people,
Yes.
that we have to save all the farmers also.
Yes.
We have not only to save white collar people like me, we have to also, I mean the farmers also.
Yes.
Because
but you
if
do
they are
have-
losing,
But you do have 11 months to do that. I think for 1 month you can probably hold it back, no?
we
Yeah.
are doing that.
Yeah, exactly. You're not suffering too much. It's just 1 month. It's okay.
We are doing that.
Okay,
But one
excellent.
thing more, we need a certain help from the government. Our normally government is always negative in all the things. So like custom authorities are not releasing our vitamin, minerals, and they are stuck up at the port, Karachi port, for the last 2 months.
And why aren't they releasing them?
They are just sitting there. You get something from the DRAP, and DRAP people, if you go to them, they take about 2 years to
Till
give
that
the-
time, I think all of those things
Yeah.
are going to expire
So
as well.
for the last 50 years, we are importing. These are not drugs. These are poultry vitamins and minerals. They are supplements.
Okay.
And they should not be stopped by that. If they have not been stopped the last 50 years, now that what will happen? If we don't have supply chain, then it will hurt your production.
Exactly.
Bird will not perform if it is not getting vitamins, minerals, amino acids. They are all stuck up. And we are now going to have no vitamin minerals at our feed mills.
But if they have an issue with that, I think what
I have met last day to the member customs, and we have requested that it should be released immediately.
Absolutely, because I think then...
Because if the chain is disturbed, then everything is disturbed.
Absolutely.
And then people will say, what has done with the poultry and this and that.
That's absolutely. Well, great. Thank you so much for being here today. And thank you so much for sharing all this
Thank you for
information. And I hope they release these vitamins.
And if
minerals
there's greater or a bigger problem, I think what they can do is probably run the test in the laboratories as
Yeah,
well,
they
so
can
that they
do
can be sure. But one last thing, sir, which I want to ask. Very sorry. Why do you think this bird, which comes from a poultry farm, is so lazy? Because whenever you try to grab that chicken, the chicken just sits over there. It doesn't even stand up, as if it's just there to slaughter.
I think I want to share with you that this broiler chicken is only for meat purpose.
Okay.
It's built for meat purpose. We don't need activeness in this. We need meat in this.
Okay.
But if you go to the layer farm for the eggs birds, if you go with there, it will jump like 20 feet up.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
So that is very active.
Okay.
Very active. It's
Exactly.
strong, but that is not for meat purpose. That's only for egg. So
Okay.
this is genetic. And
Okay,
one
that-
thing more, in the environment controlled houses, they are being brought up at 26 degrees Celsius. When it comes into 40 degree in pinjaras, it becomes a bit lazy
right.
because
of
he
course.
cannot bear that
Of
heat
course.
as you cannot bear that.
Absolutely.
But
Great.
there is nothing wrong with the meat.
Yeah.
Yeah, everything is good.
All right, amazing. That is one last thing, very quickly.
We've run out of time,
Yeah,
Shazad.
very, very quickly. And that is that these days over here in Islamabad and all the urban cities of Pakistan, we have this new trend of desi chicken as well. And the larger amount of desi chicken coming in makes me think at times that, people have started to fake these desi chickens. So what is the real identity of a desi chicken, and in days to come, are we going to have, poultry farms for desi chickens as well?
There is difference between organic chicken and desi chicken. Maybe you can say also organic, definitely, but it will cost you more.
Absolutely.
If it is here at 700 rupees a kilo, so everybody cannot buy that. But I assure you that there is no difference between meat of a broiler and meat of a desi chicken.
Okay.
And this broiler is being consumed in all of the Europe, America, because they are very vigilant health-wise.
Exactly.
And every time there is increase in, if you see the line, there is increase in production of poultry, consumption of poultry every year.
Amazing.
And there is decreased consumption of pork and other meats.
Okay.
So the same is being produced here.
Thank you very
Great.
much.
Thank you so much for your time and taking the time out to talk to us today. So that is the situation of the poultry industry and what's happening in Pakistan right now. So right now I've had another, it seems like my emails are not coming through on time, but we are going to be sharing a fun fact, and today it is green.
About green tea,
Yes,
summer's
green
chai.
tea.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, talking about health benefits of green tea.
It lowers your blood sugar levels.
It improves brain health.
It reduces your cholesterol levels,
It promotes oral health,
maintains body weight,
supports skin health,
lowers blood pressure,
reduces the risk of cancer,
keeps bones strong.
and fights against aging.
Excellent. So during fasting, this is a great supplement instead of tea.
Exactly, that's what it is. These were some amazing facts about green tea. Ladies and gentlemen, if there's anything you want to ask, you can probably write to us on our Facebook fan page, which is with the name of,
Well, this morning, and you can definitely write to us, not probably.
on Twitter,
Well, this morning with
on
Allergy.
Daily Motion and YouTube.
Well, this morning and well
And
this
this
morning.
fabulous repeat is going to be at.
11:05 p.m. in the evening. Have a wonderful day, and we will see you bright and early
Till
tomorrow
the
morning.
next time, 1, 2, 3.
Good morning.